Legion, the supremely powerful son of Charles Xavier, wants to change the world, and he's traveled back in time to kill Magneto to do it. But in his frenzy to make his future father's dream a reality, Legion kills Xavier when young Charles sacrifices his life to save Eric. Charles Xavier is dead, and without his dream, the world has become a nightmare. The ancient mutant Apocalypse rules with an iron fist, ruthlessly enforcing his survival of the fittest creed. But hidden among the downtrodden humankind scattered across the war-torn landscape of North America are Magneto's ragtag freedom fighters, the X-Men. Greetings and salutations, listeners. Mr. X back with some more discoveries and revisits. This time, I'm revisiting a classic for me, The Age of Apocalypse. Produced by Marvel Comics in 1995, The Age of Apocalypse was an X-line-wide event orchestrated by writer Scott Lobdell, along with all of the other writers and artists of all the X books. There's actually kind of a prologue that you have to read before the Age of Apocalypse for things to make a little bit more sense. You need to read Legion Quest. And Legion Quest, depending on what site you visit, has quite a few issues. It's not just the 4 parts that it says it is. David Haller, Charles Xavier's son, who for a while now, at this point in time in the comic book continuity, had been in a coma, awakens with no more schizophrenia. His mutant abilities are completely under his control, and because he is literally the most powerful mutant alive, he has the ability to open a hole through space and time. And he decides, well, my daddy never spent any time with me because he was always chasing that dream of peaceful coexistence between mutants and humans. I wonder, who was the person who kept on getting in the way of that? Magneto. So David has the bright idea, I'm going to go back in time and I'm going to kill Magneto before he becomes Magneto. Not a bad plan when you think about it. When you mess with time, nothing good ever happens. And in Legion Quest, not only is Legion pulled back in time because of his messing, but 4 X-Men are also drugged back through the portal. Psylocke, Storm, Bishop, and Iceman. And the most important one of those is Bishop, because let us not forget, Bishop is already a man outside of his own timeline. The whole reason why things don't just escalate right there and it's boom, over, and it takes a handful of issues to tell the Legion Quest story is because anybody who travels back in time loses their memory. They know that they're supposed to do something, but they don't know what it is. So, long story short, Magneto does not die. Legion actually kills Xavier because Xavier sacrifices himself for a young Eric who is at the point to where he's making... He was so close to making that decision of all humans are bad, mutants are the only way. But because Charles showed him another way, with his passing, Eric decides to hold on to that feeling, that dream of peaceful coexistence. Now the problem is that because there's so much mutant activity going on 20 years earlier than the original timeline, Apocalypse in Sabanur sees the landscape and goes, mutants are emerging 20 years earlier than I was calculating. I guess now is the time for me to make my move. And because of that event, Apocalypse starts his conquest of the world, and there are no mutant heroes there are no heroes to stand in his way, which then shifts us into the Age of Apocalypse proper. Now, this story was massive. To get the full scope of Age of Apocalypse along with the Legion Quest story, there's about 50 comic issues that you can read if you want to get fully immersed, which I totally suggest that you do. All of the X books at the time shifted. They all ended when reality cracked. And all of them changed names slightly. Uncanny X-Men became Astonishing X-Men. The regular X-Men book became Amazing X-Men. Generation X became Generation Next. X-Force became Gambit and the Externals. Cable became X-Man. Excalibur became Excalibur. X-Factor became Factor X. And Wolverine became Weapon X. I love this story. This came out in the time that I was really getting into comics. And because of this major event, it's the reason why I was obsessed with collecting every single X-Men title after Age of Apocalypse. And then because I am a completist, I had to go back before the Age of Apocalypse and collect everything there. It's the ability to take a look at the characters that you love, whether you've been reading the comic books for as long as I have, or if you only know them from movies or the animated series that they've been in. It's a way to take a look at them and see them in a totally different light. Now, a video like this would take hours for me to actually go through the scope of what the Age of Apocalypse really is. But fear not, because we are doing a podcast mini-series on the entire event. And you can find that podcast mini-series over at my Big Fat Pull List podcast. And there will be a link in the description below for you to be able to go and fill your ear holes with everything that is Age of Apocalypse. Well, friends, that was my revisit to the Age of Apocalypse. By far, my absolute favorite X-Men story to date. And I hope you, if you are a fan of the X-Men and haven't read Age of Apocalypse, will give it a try. And if you are a fan and you do love it as much as I do, leave a comment and let me know how much you love it.
Well, folks, that's our show. We hope you liked it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the My Big Fat Pull List YouTube channel so you don't miss another episode of one of our shows.
And don't forget, we have a podcast. Make sure you head on over and search out My Big Fat Pull List podcast on any one of your podcast listening platforms.
And help us keep the lights on by heading on over to www.patreon.com/My Big Fat Pull List. And you'll know that you can get any one of these amazing shirts right there.
Also, hit us up on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.